So what I'd like to ask you all first, if you would, and this is something we discussed earlier, to say what it is that you do, and in about 3 or 4 minutes. Just tell us your task, tell us your job. Faye,
Me?
Okay. Yeah.
My name's Faye Armand Troncoso. I'm a props supervisor, props designer, prop master, prop artisan, and I just did Fun Home, and had some really great shows as well. I'm the only prop person to have ever won an Obie. And for Bug, a show called Bug.
And how did you come to win an Obie for Bug? What was it about the prop ethos of the show which propelled it into an Obie?
I think it just felt natural, very naturalistic, and I just tried to make it as real as possible. And there's a whole Bug army scene that happens, so I think that kind of played into it. But the fact that no prop people ever win awards is another thing, and we very rarely get on the title page. We don't ever get a bio. Actually, we've begun to get bios. And what else? And personally, it's my thing that I really enjoy, just enhancing the set design.
What do you mean by that?
I feel like what I enjoy most is that the set designer will show me the model, show me their design, and I'll just try to make it better. I'll just try to make it better. And I'll just try to make it like the best it can be. And I get the furniture, I do the special effects, I get the practicals, I get everything that the actors touch, and I deal with the blood, the weapons. In Fun Home, everything that you see is a prop on stage. I got all of that stuff.
I didn't know that props was responsible for furniture.
I got all the furniture.
Okay, and is that always the case? Do you
Yes.
always set them up for that?
Yes.
And do you do that in concert, in discussions with the set designer, or does it get to be just totally your area?
No,
That's so major.
Yeah, I like, for instance, we'll know that there's chairs. Mm-hmm. We'll know that there's like a little settee, but I'm the one that'll go out there and find it, mm-hmm. and then I'll show my set designer. I'll be like, this is awesome, or I'll be like, I know you said this should be a daybed, but this would be great as this settee,
mm-hmm.
Or and I'll find the objects. I'll make them strong for the actors to play with, mm-hmm. and make it last the whole run, hopefully.
Okay, and this is I can't ask too many questions because we have no time.
I know.
But a huge question I have is it seems like there must be an enormous tension between, verisimilitude which will read from the audience, that you can have kind of a gaudy object which looks very real from the audience, whereas you could have a real object which actually wouldn't register from the audience. So like how you make the thing.
I see what you're saying.
And also at the time, sturdy enough so actors can muck with it, but real enough so that they, when they hold it, have a sense of, that they're in a real place. That just seems like it would be a constant negotiation, yeah?
Yeah, but also it's my goal to make that object feel real to the actor. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I just do special things just for the actors.
Like what?
Like I did this play a long time ago called Belle Epoque at Lincoln Center, and all the French coins around the stage. I really got French coins. And it was just only for them, uh-huh. Just to have, because they all had coins all over the place. But like just finding something special, and it has to last, and they have to stand on it, and they have to throw it around and everything, but I try to make it as real as possible for them. Yeah.
So you're kind of serving two masters at the exact same time. Like the actors need to have a stage environment which supports them, but the audience needs to have, they can be different needs at the same time. Yeah.
It has to look real, for sure.
Okay, lovely. Thanks. Andrew.
Hi. Michael.
Michael, oh God, sorry.
That's okay. I'm Michael Cyril Creighton. I worked in the box office at Playwrights Horizons for 8 years, almost 8 years. a little different than managing a normal box office, because Playwrights Horizon's box office is also Ticket Central's box office. So it was managing not one theater, but several subscription companies, and dealing with the phone calls and the walk-up sales and all of that for all of these different theaters. I left Playwrights. While I was there, I was writing a web series about a frustrated actor who worked in a box office. It was fictional. I won a Writers Guild Award for that, and then a year after leaving, well, 6 months after leaving Playwrights, I was cast in Sarah Ruhl's Stage Kiss. So I was in a show there, and now I make a living as an actor, but for 12 years I worked in box offices.
You were amazing in that show.
Oh, thanks.
How was it to make that transition?
I said it was like, I wish I could be nostalgic about it, but it was literally like right after I left. It was a few months later I auditioned and I got cast. So it was weird because I still knew everybody that worked there. I managed everybody that worked in the box office, so I would go and say hi to them, and most of them would talk to me. You know, the first day was weird because there was a meet and greet and I already knew everyone at the theater. But as soon as we started rehearsals, it was fine.
Did you totally switch gears? Like, when you were in your dressing room, a little bit waiting to go on, did some part of you sort of think, the audience is filing in, who are they, where did they come, who's from which, you know, like all of the things that you must have been tracking this year. Did that?
Well, I could easily like
totally
walk
figure
up to
out?
Caroline, the company manager, like before a show and be like, are there really important people here? And she would say yay or nay if I wanted her to, or I could ask, you know, I could easily find out who was coming if I wanted to, and after 1 or 2 performances when I did do that, I decided to stop doing that, because it messed with me as a performer. But working in a box office was the best thing. It's the only job I ever had after college for 12 years, besides working on stage crews, when I first got out of college. And it's such an interesting group of people that work in a box office. It's a really specific type of personality, I think.
Who? What is that type of personality?
Usually very, very funny people, very dry people, very patient people who often lose their patience. It's interesting.
Right?
It's also yes, secretly.
Okay.
But it's funny because the box office usually is the last person to know when something's going to go wrong, and the first person to be yelled at by the audience. No offense, but you guys are like, if a show's canceled, we'll know 2 minutes before. You'll come up to our window, and it'll be our fault generally. But it was a great job because I got to know everybody that walked in the building. I got to know what people were like when they picked up tickets, because in a way you're kind of invisible when you're behind that glass. Like, people don't make eye contact with you. They don't really register that you have legs, and they're just kind of acting however they want to act. So I know what playwrights are kind in general. I know what playwrights are not kind. I know what actors are really nasty before an audition. I know what actors are super lovely, and I usually kept it to myself. It didn't matter. Only one playwright gave the box office a card on an opening night in 8 years. But that's like, well, why would you? Most people, I mean, we don't really interact that much, but we in the box office know everybody that comes in that building.
Right.
And we're sort of invisible, I think, in a weird way.
Right.
Which is not bad.
Well,
it's a good job,
it's a
especially if you're an
power
actor.
and
You're like, I
sorrow.
want to be invisible. Don't look me in the eyes, you know? But it's a great job. I highly recommend it.
Okay. We're going to come back to that part
Yeah.
in a bit. Amanda.
Yes, I'm Amanda Miller. I'm a wig maker, and I focus in hair and makeup design.
And if you could tell us what that means in 3 to 4 minutes. What are your tasks? What is the scope of your job? What is your...
Well, similar to props, I work with costume design and directors and the actors collaborating for the overall look and the feel, and try to make the actors as comfortable in their character as possible. It's really exciting if you can, with a hairstyle, kind of add to that or make their job easier. It's also about making them comfortable for the run of the show and through rehearsals while they're finding their characters and working that out. Yeah.
And do you, like, you show them how, you know, you work out the wig, you show them how to put it on, you work out a makeup scheme, but you're not applying it night after night, like you're sort of structuring.
I have a team who does.
You have a team, so it's not
Yeah.
every night they are in fact taken care of, so you're supervising that activity.
That's right. And I hand make the wigs.
How much, when I was a kid, like you used, like theater was a big deal, you used base make, like it was a lot of makeup.
Yes.
And it's not anymore, right?
It's shifted a lot. Yeah.
Like how much makeup does everyone wear?
Trends and lights and, well, in a space like this, very little,
Mhm.
I think, more like a tinted moisturizer than any kind of pancake makeup that you're remembering. you
Yeah.
know. But even on a big stage, I think that's all really shifted.
Even on like Broadway or,
Yes.
wow, all right.
Yeah.
How, okay.
I suppose on Broadway is maybe the medium I work in where you most likely see the wig. It's very obvious that they're wearing wigs. I mean, they usually have a mic sitting in the middle of their forehead,
Right.
and it's been pulled through a hole in the wig, so you can't pretend it's not there, you know?
So all right, so you in a way have more latitude for artifice in a smaller space?
No less in a smaller space.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you are walking down the street, are you constantly a little bit registering and scanning people's hair?
Yeah, but not for the reasons people think of. People sometimes think I'm judging their hairstyle or like considering their bad dye job or their roots or something like this. And it's never that. I just lust after really beautiful long hair. And I wish I had a team of ninjas that kind of ran the streets and chopped off ponytails. You know? So look out, both of you.
I know.
TJ.
Hi, I'm TJ D'Angelo. I'm the head usher at the Walter Kerr Theater. I have been there for 13 years. I've only been the head usher for about 4 years now. You would think the job just consists of taking people to their seats, but there's a lot more. I deal right with the house manager, making sure that there's no problems with seating people, because we always get people that buy balcony seats that have a wheelchair. What were they thinking? No idea. And then we were at, the show that we have now is A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which is constantly sold out a year and a half later, and we don't have a lot of wiggle room. So we have to do what we can with what we have. We might have 4 seats down in the orchestra, and we will watch the people go up the stairs with their canes and say, okay, who's our best candidate to keep down here, and where everybody wants to use the handicap restroom. And you're dealing with a lot of attitudes, a lot of different attitudes. And everybody that comes in on a Friday night, you have your drunks, you have your nice people, you have your old people. Literally, you will have a person walk in the door and go, I don't like my seat. Where are you sitting? I don't know. Don't complain. But yeah, I do a lot with the house manager, and we've also went through a lot of training with, if you're familiar with Danny Meyer, who's the restaurateur, he has a hospitality group, and we had to go through extensive, like 16 hours of hospitality training.
So what were some things you learned in that?
Well, we had to definitely find out that how to find the yes was the most important thing.
Okay.
You're going to come and you're going to bitch to me, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to turn your situation around to find the yes. I can't think of an instance right off the bat, but somebody who doesn't like their seat
Right.
because somebody's tall in front of them. Well, okay, there's somebody tall in front of you. I can find you a cushion. I can maybe find you a different seat. I can take care of this. And we have to find the yes in everybody's situation.
Now, when did you get that training? When did that take place?
That happened about 2 years ago.
But you've been doing it for a long time before then. Like, how much has it changed how you...
Personally, for my company,
Yeah.
I find Judamson Theaters is one of the best companies you can work for because of our new president, Jordan Roth. When he came in, his whole thing is, it's all about the people. It's not, you're not coming to see a Broadway show. You're coming to get an experience for the whole night. As soon as you walk in the door, he wants everyone to feel welcomed. And if anybody's been to a Broadway theater and typically see the 75-year-old woman who just has a cigarette hanging out of her mouth, go, give me your tickets. Doesn't cut it anymore as an usher. A lot of things have changed. I am actually the first male head usher for my company. It's always been older women. But they all died. So that's how you get out.
Congratulations.
That's how you get out. That's how you get out. Nobody retires from being an usher. You die on the aisle. That's what they say. So, like I said, I've been doing it for a while now, and it has changed a lot over the years.
How much does it, are shows different in terms of the clientele you get?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We did Clybourne Park, which was produced by Uptown.
Playwrights.
No, hi. Lincoln Center. It was produced by Lincoln Center. So the Lincoln Center crowd all got tickets to Clybourne Park. Not to sound rude, but Lincoln Center clientele are very entitled. They are very, very entitled people. And they're the ones that don't like their seat. They could be in the front row, dead center. They don't like their seat. They want to sit in the 5th row back. And the person in the 5th row back wants to sit in the front row. Very, very entitled people.
What's been your loveliest audience? Which show has attracted the loveliest audience?
There's been a lot. The show that's there now has a nice crowd. It has a nice mix, nice 30s and 40-year-olds that have come in, and they're a good crowd. They're a good crowd. The younger the crowd, or I won't say better the show, because we've had, trying to think, some other good shows where we've had a lot of difficulties, but a lot of bad shows, sometimes people, it's a good thing as well. So it depends. It depends on the night of the week is more important.
If it's a bad show, how is it a good thing?
When it's a bad show, the people know it's a bad show. And they kind of come in with a different attitude of, I've heard about this. And they kind of, yeah. We've talked about this before. She actually worked at my theater during a show called The Testament of Mary. Literally, it ran for what, a month? And I think there was something like 35,000 comps or 3,500 comps. Nobody paid for that show. So everybody went there with this attitude of, I got a free ticket, I don't care where I am, I don't care what I'm doing. So that was a great experience on that end. Other end, it wasn't a great experience, but that's a whole other story.
All right, I guess I'm going to ask you guys each 2 questions at once. I was going to spread it out, but I'm worried we won't get to everyone. So the one question is, what about your job do you love the most? Are you most challenged by it? It makes you most passionate about it? And what is your least favorite part of your job? And then again, this question of professional deformation, which I raised briefly, like how has your job changed your brain? When you look at objects, when you look at people, the way you negotiate yourself in the world, how has your job changed you in that way? For good or ill, but just anything you pursue with any degree of passion is going to warp you, and I'm curious how that has played out.
So the best part, I think, it's kind of, well, my job, I can get anything thrown at me at any time. Anything impossible can happen to me. So the best part is that I've just kind of settled into it, and I just trust the universe, and I trust myself, and I just do the best I can with what I've got. And I've learned that. So that's kind of the best thing. And then the worst thing?
Yeah.
I guess that could be the worst thing too, but I think the worst thing is just, it's not like the worst thing, but I guess just having having anything thrown at me. Yeah, it could be anything, like an antique, flame torch. They want it like blue flame coming out of it next week, like that sort of thing. I have to figure out how to do that.
Right. I guess it must be very seldom that you can exercise the prerogative of saying, I'm sorry, that's impossible, you have to revise your timeline or your request.
I never have not delivered
Okay.
on anything before.
Okay.
That's one of the good things. But yeah, anything that I've been asked to provide, I have been able to deliver either by myself making it or finding the right person to make it. It's safe and that will really look great. That I know, like in my heart, that's the best thing that's happened to me.
And professional deformation.
What?
In your life, how has this,
Um,
are you, I mean, I suppose one question, like, are you, when people are sort of impossible, like when people are impossible in your job,
Yeah.
or make enormous requests, clearly you have everything invested in finding a way to cope with it and deliver with it, and when people come at you with impossible requests in your life,
Yeah.
sometimes that carries over in our lives, we're like, all right, now I have this power. Sometimes it's like, I've been patient all day at work, I cannot take
Yeah.
another.
Well, when I was, new at this, I would get the requests. They would say it to me and they'd be like, okay, we want to get this really hard thing. We want to get this. And like the part of me, I would talk. I'd be like, well, I don't know if we could do that. Let me research that. And I just have learned through the years that I don't say that anymore. I'm just like, we can do that. And then I just take a minute and don't freak out to them. And just like take a minute and then I just figure it out.
And when someone comes at you with an impossible request in your real life,
In real
do you
life.
do the same thing?
Do
you say like,
No, in real, and I just use my skills in real life too. Like
okay,
being a prop person, like I have to, like when I go to stores, I need them to help me. Or I go to an antique store, I need them to sell this to me at a cheap price because I need this. So I need people to help me all the time. And I need cab drivers to help me, and I need truck drivers, and I just need people to help me. And so that in my real life, I'm just like, if I need something, I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I really need this.
So
I just need this.
You have a fiery conviction and everyone yields to it.
I just try, yeah. And dealing with like union guys and Broadway, being a woman in my role, I'm a prop supervisor, so I'm in charge of the crew, that and they come up with ideas on how to do things, and I have to be like, I totally hear you. I think it's a really good idea, but we're gonna do it this way. Sorry, guys,
So it seems like in general it's just made you awesome all around.
Kind of, but it's been like, this is like 18 years of doing this.
Okay.
So
This is my last question on this part of it.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were in your position, I would get a little bit not kleptomaniac-y in real, that I would feel, that you go to museums and things, and you must throughout the world see things which are perfect and yet for various reasons completely unattainable. Do you have this little horrible
no.
itch, really? I mean, not to actually steal, but you don't just sort of yearn toward them?
Well, it's easy when they're like, yeah, we just want this, and it's over at the Met, we want this prop, Faye. But no, I don't really steal stuff.
I don't mean really steal, I just mean feel a little bit like the world is full of objects I need for my art.
Yeah.
And a little bit frustrated that you can't have access to all of them.
Yeah, but there's always a way to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, excellent. Yeah. You can, in a weird way, have
Fake
any
it.
object that you can think of.
Yeah, you can fake it.
All right. Right.
I would say the best part was the sheer amount of people that I was able to meet just by working in a box office. Like any given day, several people would come in and out. Some customers actually became really good friends of mine. I mean, it was like 8 years, so I really got to know people, and there's one specific woman who I really loved, but her first interaction with me could have gone one of two ways, because she's really quirky and bizarre and really demanding, and I am so glad it went the right way. You know what I mean?
How
Where
come
I
it
just,
went the right way instead of the wrong way?
just because I just was I guess maybe I was in a good mood. I mean, it's, you know, it was like, there was like, I gave her what she wanted, she charmed me, and I helped her out above and beyond, which I'm gonna be honest, like the box office does not have to help you out above and beyond, and if we like you, we totally will. We can give you, and I mean, not a union box office, I was off Broadway, I could give you any discount you wanted, I could get you into any sold out show, and I normally wouldn't if you, unless you were kind. So that's just something to know about the
Right,
box office.
That's a very valuable thing to know.
Yeah. I had been there long enough that I could get someone into a sold-out show easily if I wanted to, and I enjoyed helping people. I really did enjoy helping people and meeting new people. The worst part would probably be answering the phones, talking to people on the phone, because one, I was confused for a woman every day. Every day. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And two, I think on the phone people forget, on both ends, forget that you're a person and you're just a voice. Like, so I think talking to people and helping people over the phone, I wish that was not part of the job. And sometimes it's not. If you're at an off-Broadway box office, sometimes Ticket Central handles your phone calls, and that was me. And and I was also managing the staff and stuff like that. So that would be the worst part, is the phone.
I found I did a lot of reception phone work for years and years and years, and I found that it made me a worse person on the other end of the phone when I had to deal with people, because I knew that they could give me more than they said they could.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I would have thought it would have made me more compassionate, but I found that I became
it made me a maniac. Like, if I had to talk to Time Warner or anybody like that, I was just the worst. I've stopped now because I'm separated from that day-to-day thing. But while I was working there, one of my coworkers has a recording on his phone of me freaking out on Fandango because a discount code didn't go through. Like, where they're like, you can't curse, sir, ma'am, you can't curse, ma'am, you can't curse, ma'am. I want my fucking discount, screaming at them. I've stopped doing that because I'm not dealing with people every day. But yeah.
And professional deformation, has it changed the way you respond to people in general or deal with people in general, apart from being evil?
Whenever I do a play, I bring the box office a gift the first day of rehearsal. And I will make sure to know all their names and say hi to them when I walk through. Especially, like, I mean, at playwrights and things like that, it's like literally you cannot walk in the door without being right in front of the box office. So like, I just wait and make sure, you know.
Who was the playwright? The one playwright in 8 years who gave you
I
guys?
think it's going to be surprising to you. Nikki Silver.
It's not wildly surprising, but
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure that, I didn't think he would be the one that would like go out of his way and give me a handwritten card. But he also used to sit in the box office and like hang out with us. And like, he used to like flop his fingers against the keyboard and be like, get your tickets, like screaming. And people would be like, not know who he was at first. But he was really nice. Every playwright has been very nice though, to me. He was just I just think of that. He's the only one who actually gave a card. You didn't do a show while I was there, so don't worry.
I know, but you've totally struck guilty fear and
No,
recognition in my
don't.
heart.
You have
Like,
no
absolutely.
reputation for being difficult to the box office. Zero reputation for that.
I'm gonna have to work harder on that. So I'm sorry, we were talking about professional deformation and dealing with people and how that changed.
Yeah, I think now that there's some distance from it, I'm more patient, and especially with customer service people, and it just, I definitely treat, when I go to a box office, I treat them differently, because I know it's like it doesn't get a lot of glory, and it is a pretty important cog in the wheel. It's also like often in a smaller theater, the first face you see, and I know how much pressure that is and how thankless it can be, so I just make sure to, and also like be like, what do you do? What do you do besides this and stuff? Because I know almost in like, as far as off-Broadway goes, the non-union box offices, almost everybody working in those box offices is doing something else that's really interesting. So I like to know what that is. Yeah.
All right, excellent, thank you. Amanda?
Yeah, I think the best part of is making a client feel at ease and comfortable in a look, hair or makeup, you know. Sometimes in my shop, that means working with someone with medical hair loss and they actually wear the wig out. They came in with a scarf maybe, and they feel more themselves, or they feel like a better version of it, or they feel a little bit more anonymity out in the world about whatever's going on in their life, about their medical condition or something else. That feels like a little bit of power given them. And the same when an actor's going on stage, you know. The worst, I think, is often hair and makeup is seen as so last minute or maybe luxurious or unnecessary. So I find that difficult when I confront it. Either directors who really hate wigs and just, you know, find them ridiculous from the beginning, but they've brought you onto the team, and so you have to not only do your job but convince them that this can be a tool and a, you know, useful tool at that, but also you know, without enough forethought or without enough the idea just that it is unnecessary rather than a whole piece of the puzzle with costumes. I mean, it shows, and you know, Oscars have a makeup Oscar and no hair. And I don't know a movie you could name where you couldn't say hair is like the first thing you see when you're looking at a 30-foot screen, you know?
Right.
And on Broadway, there's no hair or makeup design award. There is just costume design. So you have to just come in under it, you know? So it really is, it starts kind of like, I'm using the awards as like top down, you know? Why would we be seen as unnecessary?
Right, right. Is there lobbying to get that involved?
I think at different times, yeah, but I mean, didn't we just lose the sound design?
Yeah.
So definitely not getting new awards.
No, maybe with sound design leading the vanguard, there can be a kind of
There may.
there can be a group maneuver.
There may. I think like with stronger agents, they've gotten better billing, like you've mentioned, so that's a step forward, you know, and it acknowledges that there is an artist or a designer or someone heading this and then a full team, credits in the program, that definitely helps.
When you're dealing with, I mean, you're dealing with people dealing with their appearance
Yeah.
in front of huge groups of people who are judging them. It's not like it's easy to deal with your appearance in the mirror in the morning anyway.
Sure.
But, I mean, I guess I'm just imagining that must be intense, like in both ways, like the degree of gratitude that you're able to sort of make people feel comfortable on stage, but also like finickiness or panic.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, I don't know if this is the right wig, I don't know if this is the right makeup, you know, and if you feel insecure about how you were about to look in front of up to 1,000 people,
Yeah.
you're gonna freak. Like you must, I'm imagining in a weird way, a huge amount of your job must be soothing.
Yeah.
About soothing, sort of a real
Yeah,
diplomacy
helping
must
them
come up a
find
lot.
ease.
Like
Yeah.
how, I mean, now I'm asking for weirdly for a percentage, like what percentage of people just are like, okay, great, this is my wig, this is my makeup, I'm ready to go, and what
10%.
percentage? 10%.
Yeah.
Okay, so 90% are in some way, and I'm imagining 15% must be highly distraught about it, or
Sure,
need
yeah.
a lot.
Well, you know, as we all deal with age, and I think if you're an actor and you've been followed widely, your image at least is well known. I mean, if you start to bald, particularly, men or women, it's just a lot to deal with. It's challenging, you know. There isn't really a talking head that you see on television that doesn't, and from female or male, that isn't enhanced in some way. The women don't have those big full heads of hair, and the men are usually a little more receding or thinning somewhere in there. It's just all movie magic. And I guess like some sort of crutch, some sort of confidence crutch. Yeah.
yeah.
So discretion is a big part of my job.
Sure. How about professional deformation apart from the imaginary ninja squad?
Yeah, okay, well there's that. Well, there's a lot actually, because we start there.
Yeah.
And then, but in wig making, it's you sew hair by hair, knots into a lace, and the lace is in a hexagon form. at the very root of it, but it's incredibly tiny. So you have 6 sides that you can choose to sew your knot of hair onto for a growth pattern. And I find hexagons all over the world. These lights.
So you're kind of continually thinking about it and seeing them.
Yeah.
And do you see them with pleasure? It's a little bit like, oh my God, the hexagons are.
No, I love them. I love them. Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know.
Aren't you
Maybe
a
I
little
care
bit-
less and less about my own hair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Aren't you ever, I mean, apart from the Ninja Squad, like, aren't you ever, you know, in the subway or whatever, you see someone with makeup which you feel doesn't serve them? Isn't some part of you itching to help them out, or are you able to, like, shut that off?
Not really. I mean, more I would be like intrigued. Oh, that's an interesting choice, you know, or what is it saying? It's such a form of self-expression.
Mm.
Usually I just want to like pull, steal, nab things, you know, like, oh, that's great. Like, let's find that. That's definitely a great lip color. Interesting choice. You know, I don't find, it doesn't turn me off.
Okay. No,
I
mean,
like
guess-
people's really, the more interesting, the more odd choices, I think, the better, really.
I mean, I guess if you were in fashion, you would want people to be correct to a standard, and in theater, you want people to express themselves in any way possible, because every character will come under your own
I don't know if
jurisdiction in
that's
some
true
way or
at
another.
all. I would argue that the fashion world, if you look at editorials, you know, the print world is trying to push the boundaries of like, where is an eyebrow on your face, you know? I mean, they really kind of go there. I think in theater a little bit more, it's trying to find the person on the subway, trying to, you know, recreate the characters we see and know and have a common reference to in the mass. So it can be a little bit more toned down or even more generalized, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
TJ, best and worst in professional deformation.
All right, the best part, and this comes from somebody who's a very jaded queen. My favorite thing is when a kid comes into the theater, like a 12-year-old boy or a 12-year-old girl, and it's their first time coming into a Broadway theater, and you can feel the excitement coming off of them. It's like, this is why I do this. This is why I was an actor. This is why we all do it, because that right there is what we are going to be. And it's just amazing to watch it and go, oh, I was that. And that's an amazing, amazing feeling. And you don't get that all the time. You don't get it, but when you watch them and you're like, oh my God, look at the stage. Look, and they're so excited. That is the best part. And it happens more often than you think.
How often does it happen?
At least once a week, some kid is going to come in, or we get a lot of high school kids that come in from all over the country. They're here for their week trip, and they've seen like all these shows, and they're like, oh my God, this was the best show. Did you see her wig? Did you see that? And they're so excited about it, and they're going to bring it back to Ohio and go, look what I saw, look what I did. I want to be that. And that's how I think, that's how I got into theater, was I saw Carol Channing and Hello Dolly back in 1970 something. I go, that's what I want to do, and I've been acting ever since. So it's just like, and now I go back and like, oh, I get it, and I'm very happy for them. Very, very happy for them. Worst part about it, working 6 days a week. We don't work a lot of hours, but I would love 2 days off a week.
Do you get more extensive vacation time, or is it?
No. The way the Usher Union is they pay us every week extra for a vacation. So we get vacation pay every week.
Uh-huh.
It's like 7% of our salary or whatever it is. And then after working for 3 years, you can take 2 weeks a year off of unpaid vacation.
Oh.
But you're getting paid every week.
Okay.
So like I get my salary, and then mine, because I'm the head usher, I think it's something like $44 a week for vacation pay.
Okay.
But when I go to take a vacation, I don't get paid.
Okay.
But it's still, I would like a normal weekend, so when my family goes, oh, we're having a barbecue on Saturday, can you come? Nope. Got 2 shows that day. And I'm not taking off because I'm not going to lose you know, that pay.
Right, and your day off is no one else's day off.
It's only on, you know, Mondays and,
Yeah.
you know, or if something important comes around, I'm like, I'm taking Sunday and take the 2 days if, you know, if it's something important. But, because we don't get paid a lot to start off with.
Right.
So to lose a day's salary is a lot.
Yeah.
And personal, I guess what I've learned is you have to be nice to everybody. And I try to be nice to everybody. When you talk on the phone and there's actually a person there, you have to remember that because at the theater, you're the other person.
Right.
And we get a lot of people that walk right past you, and it's just like, whatever. And even the cast members, like people on Broadway, sometimes they'll walk right past you and they'll be like, okay, thanks. And then we get other people that are like, hey TJ, how are you? It's good to see you, what's going on? And it's like, I like you. I'm gonna do things for you. And like you were saying before, we have this really nice guy in the cast now, and he's always talking to us. So when his girlfriend comes in and she buys a balcony seat, if I have an extra seat, I'm gonna find it for her in the orchestra. I'll be like, Chrissy, come here. Go sit over here. I have the seat for you. Where somebody walks by me and they're like, oh, my girlfriend's gonna be here. Can you do something for her? Nope. You gotta be nice to people. You have, this whole thing tonight, the unsung heroes,
Yeah.
it's so true. It's so true. And when Jordan came in as our new president, he made us not feel separated from anything. He wants everything. When they do a cast meet and greet, he has us come in with them and meet the cast, and the cast meets us. And our company only does the back pages where they give everybody the credit. They have the ushers, they have head usher. So he wants us to be part of the whole process. Not, like he said, not just you're coming to see this Broadway show. You're coming to see everything. You're coming to see the experience. And so just being nice is what I've learned.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. And good night.